Hello, Dr. Rivers, and hello, classmates. I'm here to talk about the current state of education. It's going to be brief, but in order to know what the current state of education is, one needs to know where education was founded from in America. So, in America, education was founded by the 13 colonies originally based basically off the Puritan law, which states basically you have to read the Bible, and it was law in that time. It was basically late 18th century, right around 1776 when America was founded. Now, when we get in to the 18th century, well, actually the 19th century, I stand to be corrected, we started getting from the agricultural industry into the industrialized industries in the 1800s. Now, when that happened, the southern states, the other 13 colonies like Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, those states basically were agriculturally rich. And being that there wasn't much schools founded or built in that time around the early 1800s. But after the Civil War, as the Industrial Revolution started to come about, there were more schools founded. And then, basically, when slavery ended and it was abolished, in other words, that became more of a transformative thing. Now, they still had biblical principles that were applied to those situations, but at the same token, more things were starting to be more innovative, like building of planes, trains, automobiles throughout the late 1800s and 1900s, and along the peak of the Industrial Revolution, which now after that was basically post World War One, World War Two, where the state of education was more family oriented, but there was still a bit of sharecropping in the southern states. But as we look into the current state of education now, it's more or less all based off of non-Christian principles and non-Christian cultures now that has integrated themselves into America. Now we have to see things that there's different backgrounds, there's different cultures involved in the current state of American education. So, in order for us to basically adapt to those terms, we have to now learn more about different cultures, different things of that nature, to where we could become more effective teachers in reaching out to more of our students. But also, there's situations like latchkey children in the current stage of education, single parent households, low economic situations in the household that changes the state of the educational system as we speak. But moreover, I think me being a future educator, I would have to basically become more culturally inclusive, basically build on the students that I have, and also implement a good program that involves everybody that could get the community involved as well as the parents and the students. Also, now in this more modernized time, we are now shifting from the industrialized form of education more into the technological side of education. What I suggest now also to keep the current state of education thriving is to add more technological finds that could help and aid and guide students, not particularly AI, but have teachers engineering the AI to construct each child to make them develop on their own pace. I think that's the direction that we're going to with education, being that there's more things in society, more sicknesses. The COVID situation was a pure example of that, to where homeschooling is more formidable, more prevalent. But also, as educators, we could let it be known that if we could establish that amongst everybody, the current state of education would actually start to become a thriving front. Thank you, Dr. Rivers, and thank you, class, for this presentation.